Alright, so I'm back after a little bit. I just installed the other mod that I just played through. Um, and apparently everything is running. I'm hoping it is. If you see this, everything ran smoothly. So I'm just gonna jump into it. I don't need to do another intro because I'm probably gonna splice it. Okay. I had to install the game. Like I had to delete the files and reinstall it. I'm hoping it doesn't remember it. If it does, that's kind of unfortunate, but oh well. Frost and sun, a wonderful day. Are you still dozing, my lovely friend? It was with these words that today, New Year's Eve morning, began. But in fairness, it's worth saying that now things were moving towards evening, although I still had to wait for her. And that's all because some people didn't calculate their wardrobe for the Russian winter, and now they are forcing me to stand on the street in order to warm up. But I'm not that opposed. Still, thanks to this, I had a few minutes to think about the plan for the upcoming festive evening. She looks, HD now. But as soon as I thought about it, the entrance door swung open and she ran out to meet me. What is symbolic, all in the same leather jeans and a jacket over a white t-shirt as 6 months ago on the day when we met each other again. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Because of me, you are standing here and freezing. You could at least go into the entrance. I told you to dress warmly, but don't worry, since you've come everything, it's fine. Ready to celebrate your first New Year's in Russia? I've got a plan for the rest of the evening. Is it true? I've been waiting for this for so long. Let's go soon. Go ahead. Walking forward at a leisurely pace, we admired the flakes of snow falling from the sky. Well, or rather admired Monica. I was thinking about my next course of action. The whole initial idea went down the drain due to the fact that relatives had to help with preparations for the holidays. The whole day was spelled out in my head, just grandiose, and even so, I would try to squeeze the best out of the rest of the evening. After all, she had been waiting for this. Monica has always said that she loves to travel. This went against my homebody lifestyle, but in order to not upset her, I began to take a little interest in walking in the fresh air, and later with what could interest her in my city. I remember that she even once said that she would like to go with me for a week to the forest, to the wild. What with no worries, entertainment, phones. I didn't quite understand what the pleasure of such a lifestyle was, because the worries about food and lodging for the night would still remain. Although later, he was imbued with her enthusiasm and even wanted to somehow hit the road with her to the nearest woods for another night. I'm afraid that for a week without any equipment, I simply won't have enough. But while this dream was difficult to realize because neither I nor Monica had a driver's license. Although this idea, I'm still in no hurry to bury, and now is not about that. Slowing down a bit, I stood behind Monica and gently covered her eyes with my hands. Hey, what are you doing? I can't see the road. Playfully trying to escape, my companion answered cheerfully. Don't worry, I'll take you to our first destination now, just trust me. Oh well then. Immediately calming down, she pliantly began to step forward with the help of my prompts. After a couple of minutes, we finally reached the right place. Seeing how excited Monica was about what she was expecting to see, I decided not to delay and gently remove my hands from her eyes. I remember how you used to say a long time ago that you dreamed of riding a carriage. Although they are rarely in the city, today is a special day, right? So here, dear, please. My companion's eyes widened in amazement. His breath stopped and his face froze in surprise. After standing like that for a few seconds, she came to her senses and turned to me. Do you really remember what I said about that? My God, I just can't believe it. But it's insanely expensive, are you sure? It's all paid for, so don't worry. Get in quickly, the driver won't wait long. It's good now. I gallantly held out my hand to her and helped her into the carriage. We sat side by side. I took out a blanket and covered her with it. Embarrassed, Monica blushed all over, but did not stop looking with interest at the inner rich lining of the carriage. In the meantime, we finally started moving. Wow, I really have never ridden in carriages before, my neighbor said, looking out the window spellbound. And outside the window floated, one after another, the streets of snow-covered St. Petersburg. Still, at this time, they were especially beautiful. Do you like it? I asked, guessing what she would say, but still wanted to hear it from her personally. Well, of course, you fulfilled one of my biggest dreams. She hesitated for a second. And although, no, not really, you still forgot something. Crap, I knew I was gonna forget something in the confusion, but what? After all, I thought it all out exactly as she described it in her monologues before. Suddenly, she took out my right hand in hers, intertwining her fingers, and she leaned closer and kissed me gently on the lips. After a moment, pulling back, Monica looked at me with a slight chuckle in her eyes, and also jokingly added, "And you forgot about the most important thing." That's the same, but it's true. The main thing in her desire that she was not so much the carriage itself, but the time that we could spend in it together. And how could I forget? I'm sorry, and the truth flew out of my head completely, but I promised there would be no more such punctures. Smiling, I assured her, "I really hope you keep your word, sir." Continuing to play pranks, my companion answered, posing as a lady in waiting, straight from the end of the 18th century. "Yes, Your Excellency." Deciding to play along with her a little, I tried to copy the same manner of speech. Grabbing her hand more comfortably, I began to point out the sights that came across in the windows. Although we went out for a walk quite often during these 6 months, to my shame, I did not have time to show her the city in full. But I think now it was even a plus. Look, this is the Alexandria Theater. It was founded in 1756. Empress Ekaterina Petrovna. Well, you're right, but only partly. The great empress built the theater, but Fyodor Volkov is considered its founder, since he was the first head of the theater troupe. That's right, but it seems that I've been living here all my adult life, and it's I who should be now in the role of a guide, isn't it? I said with false reproach, looking at my neighbor. The beauty with green emerald eyes was embarrassed for a moment, and even, it seems, became a little sad. Damn, that's not what I was looking for. But speaking frankly, apart from the date of construction of some buildings, I don't know anything. You are much more erudite than me, so I will be glad to learn from you something new about my hometown. Her face lit up again with a sunny smile, and she spoke animatedly. With joy. Oh look, you can see the botanical garden of Peter the Great over there. It has been around since the very foundation of the city. There is a huge number of different plants and cultures. The garden has been restored several times, but today nothing threatens its plants. I would love to get there somehow. Well then, somehow we will definitely go there. After some time, we finally reached our destination. The coachman stopped the carriage and I got up to help Monica out. What? That's not all. I thought we were going to ride the carriage all evening. My companion answered in a somewhat uncomprehending voice. Honey, this is just the beginning, but further on foot, so I'm asking for your hand, miss. I got out of the carriage and gently extended my hand to her to help her down. Oh yes, you are full of surprises, monsieur. Laughing lightly, she stepped out of the carriage, holding the outstretched hand. Please, love and favor. Malaya, now I'm gonna try straight. With undisguised triumph, I presented her with one of my favorite streets of St. Petersburg. Wow, you were right when you called me here. It's so beautiful here. Then let's go further. She's even prettier ahead. We slowly walked forward toward looking at the beauty around us, but the conversation, as if to evil, did not stick. Okay, now it's kind of uncanny. I wonder if these are all AI pics. Looking carefully at Monica, spelled it wrong. I noticed that although she tried to show with her whole appearance that she was having fun, something was alarming me. Yes, half a year is not so much, but I have learned to distinguish when she tries to hide her anxiety. Ahem, so what do you think about New Year's Russia? I decided to start with a harmless question. Monica came to her senses and spoke animatedly. Well, if you take into account the fact that I just can't stand cold and frost, and it's very, how would it be softer, severe? People, their way of life, as well as the conditions and circumstances in which they may find themselves. In order to survive all this and remain a man, you need truly nerves of steel. But there was another side. Incredible culture, great food, and how kind and helpful some people here are. Words can't describe how inspiring I am. It seems like I've always been looking for a place like this. Although I won't lie, if it were even a little warmer here, it would be generally perfect. Unable to bear it, I laughed. What are you laughing at? What funny thing did I say? Forgive me, please. I never heard such a precise description. You are right on all counts. You know, I think we could move to the south later. After all, you really can't stand the cold. For some reason, it seems to me that St. Petersburg is your city. The interlocutor blushed slightly and answered embarrassedly. If you say so, then we better not leave. And for some reason, she became sad again. Well, let's try another way. You just know I tried so hard for today, but almost all of it didn't go according to plan. I would like you to enjoy it anyway. She looked at me again, but more frankly. It seems that she became ashamed of herself, and with obvious difficulty, but nevertheless she began to speak. You know, I can see how much you work, so I don't want to lie to you. Something worries me. Go on, you know. I will listen to everything and help in any way I can. So, you know, it's not that easy to say. She always found it difficult to tell others about her problems, so she needs to be encouraged to do so. Holding her hand, I led Monica to the nearest shop. When she sat down, I began to gently knead her palms. I read somewhere that hand massage is very good for the health and also has a calming effect. Calm down, it's alright, I'm here. You can tell me everything. Thank you, okay, I'm ready. She carefully released her hand from my grip and folded them into a clasp in her lap. I'm not a big fan of the AI art. You see, I was alone for so long. Nobody knew me. Nobody could and did not want to help me. And on that day, 6 months ago, when we finally met, I couldn't dream of anything else. You were always so kind to me. You were exactly what I imagined. But the more I thought about my place in this world, the more I realized there was nothing I could do to help you. I was so afraid that by moving here, I would only become a burden to you, but in the end, that is exactly what happened. She barely held back her tears of sadness. I gently hugged her head and gently stroked her back. Trying to put all my confidence into my voice, I spoke. Stupid, Monica, what are you talking about? You are my strength and support. You are my guiding star that leads. You are not a burden. Don't talk nonsense. But you work every day from morning to night, and I want to help you. There was so much resentment in her voice at herself that my arms hugged her tighter by themselves. Honey, I promised that I would always be there. It is enough for me that every day you are waiting for me at home, and I know that someone needs me. No, not like this, that you need me. She reached out and hugged me back, whispering softly to herself. Thank you from all of my heart. By the way, you got a job in a small office the other day. What can you say about the team? Are you offended there? Oh no, what are you talking about? Great people work there. Everyone helps me, prompts and explains if I do not understand something. To be honest, programming in a company is very different from what I studied before. But I would be lying if I said that my skills were not useful to me at all. Well, it's not surprising, after all, that you studied programming for a game engine. Now, if I'm not mistaken, your company is developing security software. I asked with genuine interest. Right, the idea that I will help other people in the virtual space warms me so much. Even though I'm only a trainee now, and I'm not allowed to take on big projects. I'm sorry, that must sound pretty stupid, yeah? I would just like to deal with serious bugs. Still, it's important to me. But it's true, all of our self-awareness problems were due to one big mistake in the code. It was a rather intricate bug, although we can only guess on this topic. But who knows, maybe it was he who allowed her to move into this world. If so, I wouldn't want to get rid of it. In fact, this is very cool. I would even say noble of you. I remember you were still trying to submit your collection of poems to print and even went to music hearings. But not there, you did not say why. Monica thought for a moment about my question, as if she were personally trying to understand the reasons why she was not satisfied with the work that she sincerely wanted to get into. You see, the auditions praised my voice and diction, but I was absolutely disappointed by the lack of any freedom. I would have to complete completely obey my leader and only sing what I was told to sing. But I wanted to compose and perform my own songs, especially if it was songs about you. The smile faded from her face as she sighed in exasperation. You know, while I was trying to get my poetry into publishing, I realized that being a creative person sucks. One gets the feeling that no matter how much I work hard, no matter how much effort I make, they will remain unnoticed by anyone. After all, many talented authors, as a result of their work, remain in the shadows and in poverty. She sighed heavily again, as if confirming everything that had been said. You're right. After all, writing is a business, and for publishing in the first place is profit and not the feelings invested by the author in his creation. Hit the wrong button. But I think you just need to write for yourself, don't you? And about the fact that no one will notice your efforts, and you are also wrong. Personally, I really like your poetry. They are very beautiful and pleasant to read, but at the same time, they have a second bottom which makes the work much deeper. Well done. She smiled shyly again. Your words always flatter me, but thank you. I am glad to hear that my labors are not in vain. As soon as she finished speaking and relaxed a bit, I ruffled her hair. Are you not hungry? There's an excellent restaurant nearby. She jokingly tapped my arm with her small fists. Don't do that. I wasted a lot of time on my hair, and I tried for you. I didn't say I didn't like it, but they are so silky I want to touch. She smiled mischievously. Okay, I don't mind. But only sometimes, you understand? Well, Your Excellency, I obey and obey. I bowed low. Oh, you're so funny when you're fooling around, but you said something about a restaurant? I don't mind eating, but only if it's not solid meat. I remember everything. You can eat there too. But let's go quickly. The restaurant was on the other side of the street, so we had to go around the houses, making a small detour. Although it was cold outside, it did not stop us from enjoying the walk. On the way, we chatted about a variety of little things. I was pleased to see that Monica cheered up. After all, she always tried to stay at the top to be better than herself in the eyes of others. Be anyone but not yourself, and it put a lot of pressure on her. Monica can never confide in anyone, but after all, she is the most ordinary girl. At times, it is difficult for her. It can also be difficult for her because of some life situations. But she just couldn't tell anyone else about it. It might look like a sign of weakness that others could take advantage of. I can only hope that I manage to become for her the person with whom she can be frank. Those on whom she can rely, those who will help if it becomes difficult. I want to help her with this, just as she once helped me. But judging by a recent conversation, I seem to be doing a pretty good job of it. Having reached the restaurant, I sincerely hope that now there would be at least one free place for us. Going inside, a young waitress greeted us and said that a table of 2 had just become vacant. I was unspeakably happy about it. Still, improvisation is, of course, a useful skill, but I did not want to constantly rely on chance. At least today, everything went pretty smoothly, although not exactly as I originally intended. We were escorted to our table and given a sumptuous menu. Monica began to study it with her usual cold calculation, but when she got to the dessert, she always showed her girlish side. Look, they have chocolate brownies and even mint chocolate chip ice cream. Well, I'm not surprised about the cakes, but the fact that they have your favorite ice cream is really great. Although I said so, the thoughts that for the next month I would eat only buckwheat appeared in my head more and more often. But I liked that at such moments, she allowed herself to take off the mask of an adult and smart lady and just be a young girl who enjoys life at the right time. The restaurant we went to was actually not very big in terms of the inside area, but instead of a relatively small area, it struck with its inner beauty. The walls of the institution were painted with paintings by a famous Dutch artist. Many different images could be seen on each of the walls of the restaurant, and they blended very harmoniously with the wood finishes of the furniture here. From thinking about the unusual but very impressive interior of the restaurant, I was pulled out by a waitress who approached us. Are you ready to order? Damn, I completely forgot to choose something up from the menu. But Monica was already dictating her order to the waitress. As soon as she finished, they both looked at me expectantly. Please bring me everything the same as for my companion. Are you sure? You can take some meat, I won't mind. Monica asked with a little excitement. Yes, I'm sure. Sometimes you can sit on vegetables, and I more than trust your choice. Today you can sit on vegetables. Okay, your order will be ready in 10 minutes. Please wait. Look, you really shouldn't have. I do not want to limit you in anything after all. My beliefs are my beliefs. You are not obliged to adapt to them. Still worried about such a typical act for me, Monica said. I see it's all good. I like the fact that at least in some opinions, you and I disagree, but you never tried to impose your point of view on me, and I always accepted my interests. I think that on New Year's Eve, I can also try what my girlfriend likes. Besides, I have wanted to start eating right for a long time, so today is a great day to start. I answered confidently to dispel her doubts. Well, if you say so. She suddenly smiled warmly and looked into my eyes. You know, I'm so glad that I'm finally with you. We have done so much in these 6 months, and we can do so much more. You try so hard to make me happy. I want to repay you in kind. I want to create as many happy memories as we can. After all, everything that I had before cannot be compared with what I have now. She hesitated for a second. I already told you, didn't I? I had the most ordinary life. Well, maybe a little better. During my studies, I was always on top. But I was missing something. I felt broken, inadequate. And it turned out that the last piece was you. And when I lost you, the world again plunged into darkness for me. Why do I need reality if you are not in it? But now everything is fine. We finally met. And I would do my best to repay you with kindness for kindness. I'll make you a happy guy, I promise. Wow, didn't think you'd say that now, but thanks. You have no idea how important this is to me. Trust me, I'm doing great. She smiled sweetly. In the meantime, our conversation was interrupted by a waitress who approached with a dressing and began to put on the table everything that was on it, enumerating along the way. You ordered 2 Korean zucchini salad, butter baguette, Prague chocolate cake, mint chocolate chip ice cream, and the last one to hit the table was a bottle of wine? No, of course, this is a wine restaurant, but I chose it because of the beautiful interior design, not because of that. Yes, and Monica would hardly have ordered such a thing. She takes health and nutrition very seriously. Sorry, this seems to be wrong. Yes, that's right, thank you very much. Not even gonna try. The waitress said without any audible accent and left. I guess you should wish us bon appetit. Ooh, it was said in Dutch. I didn't think they would care so much about their image. Monica said with delight and pushed her salad plate closer to her. I looked first at the bottle of wine, then at Monica. Back to wine, and back to Monica. But this cunning fox pretended not to notice my misunderstanding at all. Unable to bear such mockery, I asked. Monica, let me know, what is this? I made a surprised face and pointed to the drink. White wine, semi-sweet. Don't worry, I didn't choose the most expensive one. With the most innocent look, the green-eyed beauty replied. It's not about the price. Why did you even order wine? You'd never drunk it before. Well, I figured since we're both adults now, we might as well have a glass of wine. It could also be beneficial for health, of course, if not abused. Don't you want to? We can return it. No, don't. I answered awkwardly. If you want to try it, then go for it. After all, we have a romantic dinner. Having said this, I took the corkscrew lying on the table and took out the cork from the wine. Just don't think it's bad. I just thought it would make our evening a little more colorful. Apparently, having understood how her act looked for me from the outside, Monica immediately tried to justify herself. Taking both glasses, I poured the contents of the water into the bottle into them, very little. Raising the glass on my hand, I swirled it a little in the air as pathos characters from films do. The beautiful, slightly golden hue of the wine let through the rays of light emitted by the lamps around. The light passed through the glass, making the drink in it a little brighter, making it look more like liquid gold. I looked at the girl sitting opposite me through the glass. She raised the hand holding the drink to her lips and took a sip. Rather, she even licked the wine a little. And then her cute pug grimaced. Of course, she had never drunk anything like that before, only coffee and tea. Noticing that I was looking at her funny reaction, she abruptly became embarrassed and said, Well, I can't drink. Why laugh? I didn't say anything. Yes, you ordered it. I answered, having personally tasted the contents of the glass. The tart taste spilled over the tongue. Initially, a bright sourness appeared. Apparently, because of it, Monica grimaced. But then a light sweetness came in its place. The fruity notes appeared in the aftertaste. I can't call myself a wine sommelier, but the rare holidays with friends and family have given me experience in this. I never liked alcohol, but here, if you don't drink, then something is wrong with you, so I had to learn. Meanwhile, I noticed that Monica no longer makes funny faces, but looks thoughtfully somewhere to the side. It looks like the aftertaste of wine has finally reached her too. Now she looked very relaxed, which was extremely unusual for Monica, who was always collected and ready to work. But I can't say I wasn't happy to see her like that. A light chuckle came from her side. What's happened? I, unlike you, did not grimace after tasting the wine. No, please excuse me. I just remembered how Yuri once brought a small bottle of wine to a club meeting. Did I already tell you? She looked down at her glass of drink. To be honest, now I really regret that then we abused her. After all, she was just trying to be nice. Although because of the presidential responsibility, I could not afford it. Although I think if she suggested it in about a year, I think we could have had a little bachelorette party. It would be very funny. She smiled again. Well, let's start eating, otherwise you haven't tried anything. Fine. I scooped up more salad on my fork and brought it to my mouth. He smelled a little harsh, but the smell did not repel him. I don't think that made any sense. Finally, after eating the salad from my fork, I began to chew it, carefully noticing along the way that Monica was looking at me strangely. In a moment, I understood the reason. A real fire broke out of my mouth. The salad was so spicy, and it grew with every second. In an attempt to save my taste buds, I grabbed a piece of baguette, but even that didn't help. I had to drink wine, which absolutely spoiled the taste. Meanwhile, the girl sitting opposite was barely able to restrain herself from bursting out laughing to the whole restaurant. Okay, one. Okay, 1-1. Now we're even. Sorry, it's just your face. You're so cute. Probably in order not to completely destroy my self-esteem, the maximum that she allowed herself to giggle softly into her fists. This is a special Korean recipe. There was a lot of garlic as well as extremely spicy Korean carrots. That's why it tastes so strong. I see. Wait, how do you know about this? I thought we came here for the first time. I've lived here longer than you, and I only recently found out about this restaurant. Well, you see, I've been here before and quite often. The restaurant was on the way to the apartment, which I then rented. Monica spoke apologetically. And I think, okay, that's probably even better, I said, and continued to cautiously eat the salad, but a little bit. You know, I always thought the spicy food situation was pretty funny. I read somewhere that man is the only species in nature that enjoys spicy food. After all, in fact, plants have become sharp as a result of evolution so as not to be eaten. For them, it looks almost like a mockery. Now imagine a monster that eats you just to enjoy the feeling of your desperate struggle. Sorry for such a strange analogy. She looked at me with a playful squint. Of course, I'm not a monster, and I would have eaten you. She approached me and bit the air next to my nose, but quickly realized how awkward she looked, and she immediately moved away. God, I'm having too much fun, right? I'm sorry I'm so weird. Even though she said so, I could see from her expression that she was fine, and for me, there could be no greater happiness. I don't think Sayori would have liked it either. Although she loves to eat, she prefers non-spicy food more, all sorts of sweets, like cookies. Monica said, thinking again about something. We ate the salad mostly in silence, but when it came to dessert, Monica perked up again. Look, dear, what a cute cake you have. She said delightedly, pointing to the white icing drawing of a cat on my piece of dessert. I think you're right, it looks really cute. I couldn't help but agree with her. But when she saw how she looked at my cake, she just left me no choice. Taking a small piece of a fork, I brought it to her lips. Try it. I see what you want, but I do not mind. Inside her, the desire to refuse in the name of the image and the desire to try fought, but it seems finally trusting me. She ate the piece that was extended to her. Thank you. Monica said a little audibly, looking into my eyes with gratitude. Now it's your turn, she said as she handed me a scoop of mint ice cream. Even though it's not my favorite flavor, refusing would hurt her, so I swallowed the cold treat with a smile. I never understood the joy of eating ice cream in cold weather, but after all, ice cream is not only a thing to cool off from the heat, but also a complete meal. At what? Quite tasty. Yummy. Thanks, Monica. It's delicious. Glad you liked it. Once, when Natsuki found out that I liked this kind of ice cream, she tried to make a cupcake with the same taste, but it tasted more like toothpaste, which was a little disappointing. But I was glad that she tried to do something special for me in order to please me. Monica fell silent again, and a smile froze on her face, but she was kind of sad. Unable to bear it, I decided to ask anyway. Do you miss them? It was a really stupid question, but I didn't want her to keep it all to herself. What? It seemed that the essence of my question did not immediately reach her. Oh, are you talking about this? The smile on her face disappeared and her eyes became even sadder. I think that to some extent you are right, although not for long, but we had fun together. We talked, exchanged poems, drank tea, had fun. They are the only clear memories of my old life. You see, I still think about the fact that if they weren't there, then my memories didn't exist either. Does that mean I existed? She fell silent. Gently taking her hand, I spoke soothingly. You are here now, right? Doesn't matter if you had a past, but I swear you have a future. Monica's eyes lit up. I didn't mean to upset her, but it's understandable that she misses them. Real or not, after all, they were her only friends. When I finished my dessert, I paid the waiter and we went outside. Frost ran down my cheeks, but the snow was no longer falling. Just as I was about to move on, something pulled me back. Turning back, I saw that Monica was holding my sleeve and was not moving. Her head was lowered to the ground, but after a second she raised it and looked at me. The eyes and facial expression were unexpectedly serious, even somewhat stern. What is it, Monica? Discouraged by her gesture, I asked. Before we continue, I want to ask you something. This is important. Although there was confidence in her eyes, her hand was shaking, and for some reason I was sure it wasn't from the cold. Fine, ask you a question. I turned to her fully and looked as seriously as she did, preparing for the worst. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Well, of course I believe. What kind of question is that, Monica? Phew, I was already scared. She smiled warmly again and took a step towards me. I'm sorry, I just wanted to play a prank on you. I didn't think you'd believe me so much. Still, you like to joke sometimes, but okay, now let's go quickly. There is one more gift left. Taking her by the hand, I led her to the main decoration of the evening. More? But you did so much today. She followed me in a slight bewilderment. Monica, remember when you once asked me what would happen if my reality turned out to be a simulation? I thought about it for a long time and eventually came to the conclusion that it would not be so bad. I know that many people don't like to think that their world is just a fantasy, but I have a different opinion on this matter. You see, even if it suddenly turns out that none of what surrounds me actually exists, it's not enough for me to change in everyday life. I will also continue to get up every morning for work, play video games, and go for walks, but the main thing is that you are in this world. And if I could not be with you, then even if I were sure of the reality of my world, I would not be happy. Therefore, Monica, know that for me, the real world is one in which I can be with you. As soon as I said the last words, we went to the right place. Wow. My companion's eyes widened in surprise and seemed to be trying to capture the moment for the rest of her life. I understood it perfectly. After all, it's not every day that you see a tall spruce on the main square of the city. The endless lights of the garlands reflected from the newly fallen snow and created millions of small stars shining on the ground. All this magnificence was reflected in those wonderful green emerald eyes of the girl standing nearby, which made them even more beautiful. And you won't even ask where the gift is? Isn't that him? Suddenly coming to her senses, she answered a question with a question, Monica. No, your present is under the tree, or rather, after her. At the same moment, 3 silhouettes came out from behind the royal spruce. Hey, doves, we've been waiting for you here. A girl with blue eyes and coral-colored hair shouted joyfully. Really? How far can you walk? We're all numb here. A girl with short pink hair furiously joined her friend. We have been waiting for you, politely added the tallest girl with purple hair who approached us. Monica was in complete shock. There was a feeling that what she saw seemed unreal to her. I cannot read. There's so much reading. In complete frustration, she simply stared at the girls who came up to us, quite quietly whispering to herself. How? What? Where? Lightly pushing her in the back, I seemed to have broken some kind of barrier. The first could not stand Sayori, lashing out at the former president with hugs and tears. A moment later, Yuri and Natsuki joined her. Monica was the last to lose her composure, tears streaming down her cheeks, and she herself tried to hug all 3, as if afraid that if she let them go, they would disappear again. And at the same time, she practically shouted with a voice full of happiness, joy, and disbelief. Girls, I miss you so much, so bored. The former members of the literature club all are finally reunited, hugging each other as if trying to protect themselves from the hardships and cruelty of the world around them. It doesn't matter if you are real, they are me, even this whole world. The main thing is that you be happy. It will, I promise you. Dear Happy New Year, and I love you. Okay. Generally excited for the next appearance. The music here, credits. Hey, isn't that the same? You're right. Do you want to repeat? With joy. Smile, Monica. Cheese. Okay. Well, that's gonna do it for, I think it's called Dream Reality, or Dream Girl, I don't remember. But I really enjoyed it. I don't think there's another one after this. I might do some research to see if there's anything after, like a follow-up on it, but it's like, there was a little bit of polish that needed to be done with the dialogue, because there was a lot of unnecessary words and it was kind of a jumbled mess compared to the first one, but I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I'll probably splice the 2 together, because I think it would be nice to have it all in one video. But we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, thank you everyone for watching. I'm not good with outros, so I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.